Nostalgia is a powerful force, and one look into what's currently on the market for gamers can attest what a soft spot consumers have for it. The downloadable market is flooded with games that emulate everything from 16-bit RPGs to 2D platformers. Kickstarter has brought us updates and sequels to games we grew up on, and some key titles that define the childhoods of 90s gamers have received HD re-releases. While some games simply play the nostalgia card to give us warm fuzzy feelings that open our wallets faster than an inebriated man at a strip joint, others use nostalgia as a vehicle for humor and personality. Saturday Morning RPG falls into the latter category. Following an interesting episodic structure, Saturday Morning RPG places players in the roles of Marty, an average teenager who's given a magic trapper keeper by a power glove-clad figure called the Wizard, in order to face off with Commander Hood. It wastes no time in conjuring images of Fred Savage and a certain band of real American heroes. Each episode plays out like an episode of your favorite 1980s cartoon, with some sort of malicious force attempting to carry out a destructive plan, and your hero's journey to thwart their efforts. The episodic structure is actually quite interesting. Your level and inventory carries over between episodes, and players can go back to previous episodes to uncover missed items and side quests. Also, there are a couple of minor cases where something that your character does in one episode carries over into another. The narrative elements are minimalistic, but some characters carry over between episodes, creating a bit of continuity. The problem is that characters have very little personality. They instead lean too heavily on what they're supposed to reference. Players who are unfamiliar with the source material used to create these characters will find little interest in them, and some of the jokes centered around some of these characters read like overused memes. Unlike most RPGs, Saturday Morning RPG doesn't dwell too much on its narrative, and instead is a bit more focused on combat, managing to offer a surprisingly robust system for a small budget title. Aside from sharing an acronym with Super Mario RPG, Saturday Morning RPG borrows heavily from the timing-based combat system in Mario's first role-playing outing. Timing button presses during attacks yields greater damage, and timing button presses at the last second can help players avoid major damage. Almost every special attack has some sort of minigame that requires a bit of skill and dexterity to make the most of. In addition, turns can be sacrificed in order to charge Marty up, giving him a damage multiplier. The charge function can be used in one of three ways. The first and most effective requires players to rapidly press buttons to build the multiplier, another requires time button presses to make the most of the multiplier's potential, and finally there's a charge function that requires no interaction but yields the smallest multiplier. Being able to dish out 5 times the damage in a single turn makes it well worth foregoing an action. Additionally, there are dozens of items and up to 5 can be equipped, each giving Marty a new special attack. Their abilities recall the abilities that Final Fantasy's blue mages are capable of learning, and provide a mix of offensive and defensive skills. The final piece of the combat puzzle comes in the form of stickers and covers for Marty's magic trapper keeper. The cover can be swapped for stat buffs, and up to 5 scratch and sniff stickers can adorn the front. On the onset of each battle, a fixed period of time is allotted for players to scratch each one of these stickers. Doing so can further buff Marty's stats or debuff your foes. The catch is, the more rewarding the buff or debuff, the more times it takes to scratch the sticker, so finding the most beneficial combination of stickers that you can feasibly and consistently activate before each battle adds an appreciable degree of strategy. The problem with the whole system is twofold, the first of which is the fact that it can make the game exhausting to play. Starting each and every battle, furiously smashing your analog stick back and forth to scratch stickers, then mashing the A button like a coked out woodpecker in order to gain the highest multiplier become taxing. It should be noted that Saturday Morning RPG was originally designed for phones and tablets in mind, so some control input issues are not surprising. The other more serious problem, however, is that the game is simply too easy. Anyone who is reasonably quick and has respectable timing will breeze through the game largely unopposed. It is completely feasible to build a multiplier in one turn and knock out a boss with your second action. There is one fight, however, that is an appreciable test of your skills and ability to strategize to be uncovered. Rounding out the trip down memory lane, Saturday Morning RPG features a hodgepodge of graphical elements to recall some games of the past. Characters are composed of 16-bit style sprites, but inhabit a 3D world recalling the look of Paper Mario. The environments are rendered in simple 3D, with a cartoonish aesthetic. Unfortunately, the environments can appear too simplistic at times with blocky geometry and flat textures. Being a mobile device port, it's not surprising the tech isn't up to scratch, but a little more spit and polish for the PC release could have really given Saturday Morning RPG an invigorating style. Audio is generally strong, however, with a soundtrack composed by Vince DiCola of Rocky IV fame and Kenny Meredith. Saturday Morning RPG is a solid and enjoyable game for those familiar with the pop culture of the 1980s and early 1990s. But gamers unfamiliar with the bag from which it pulls its gags are less than likely to be tickled by its appeal to nostalgia. Even so, the robust combat system and episodic gameplay make it really enjoyable to play, and if you feel so inclined, replay. It's just unfortunate that players who want a bit of a challenge have to dig for secret boss fights to find it, and that your favorite input device may fall victim to the harsh stick waggling and button mashing required to play. Even still, with a budget price, 4 complete episodes to enjoy, and a 5th and 6th episode on the way, the good exceeds the bad, and if you're the right temperament, you may find the experience totally righteous.